Callan was not supposed to be there. The museum was still under construction on the far edge of Orion Station, a giant floating city built into the remains of an asteroid. Most visitors never even saw this wing. But Callan, a young human engineer, liked to wander during his breaks. He was always curious about forgotten corners and strange tech. Today, something pulled him toward the restricted zone, a hallway marked with flickering red signs that said, "Exhibit closed." "Dangerous energy readings," Callan smirked. That usually meant something interesting. He ducked under the warning tape and walked quietly. The halls were cold and empty. Dust floated in the light. The deeper he went, the stranger it felt. The air hummed like static before lightning. Then he saw her. She stood alone in a large circular chamber. At first glance, she looked like a beautiful alien sculpture made of stone, glowing slightly under the dim lights. Her body was tall and elegant, with smooth curves and long limbs. Her hair was carved like flowing rivers. Her eyes were closed, but there was a sadness on her face. Callan walked closer. His heart beat faster. There was something too real about her. Like she wasn't just art. A small plaque stood next to the statue. It read, "Subject, unknown. Found on derelict moon X-47. Warning, do not touch." Callan tilted his head. "Weird," he whispered. "You look like you're just sleeping." He laughed softly. Then, without thinking, he playfully poked the center of her chest, right where the pattern glowed brightest. Suddenly, the room changed. A low vibration passed through the floor. The lights flickered. The air felt hot. Callan stepped back fast. But before he could turn, the statue's hand shot out and grabbed his wrist. He froze. Her fingers were warm, not stone. They squeezed his hand tightly. Her chest rose as if she took her first breath in centuries. And then her eyes opened, glowing silver. She looked directly at him. Callan's voice caught in his throat. What are you?" She leaned closer. Voice soft and broken. "You touched the seal. Now you are bound." The stone cracked off her skin like peeling bark, revealing smooth, glowing flesh underneath. Her body shimmered with strange runes, old alien markings that pulsed like veins of light. She took one shaky step toward him, never letting go of his hand. Callan's instincts screamed at him to run, but something about her held him still. "Who are you?" he asked, barely able to breathe. "I was once a protector," she whispered. "Then I was betrayed, and sealed for 10,000 cycles." She looked around, eyes wild with fear. "They're still here. I can feel them." "Who?" Callan asked. "Who's here?" She looked into his eyes. "The ones who cursed me. They'll come now, because I woke." Just then, a voice echoed from far down the hall. Metal boots on stone floors. Movement detected. Restricted area breached. Security. Callan's mind raced. If they saw him with her, there would be questions. Too many questions. The museum staff didn't even know she was alive. He didn't know what she was. But something told him she wasn't safe here. Neither was he. He grabbed her hand. "We have to go. Now." But she wouldn't move. "I'm weak," she whispered. "You woke me. Now you must carry me." Callan sighed, then quickly slid his arms under her. She was lighter. Then she looked. As he turned toward the hallway, red lights began to flash. Alert. Unauthorized presence in Sector 9. Lockdown in progress. He cursed under his breath. Stupid, he muttered. "Why'd I poke the cursed statue?" As he ran with her in his arms, she whispered again, this time softer. "Thank you for seeing me." That made him stop for half a second. He looked down at her, this glowing, half-awake alien woman wrapped in remnants of broken stone. And for the first time, he noticed something strange. The glowing mark on her chest, the one he had touched it, was now faintly burned into his palm. Bound? What did that even mean? Before he could ask, The sound of mechanical drones echoed behind him. They were coming fast. He tightened his grip, ran faster, and disappeared into the shadows of the maintenance tunnels out behind him. The lights in the statue room exploded, then faded into complete darkness. Callan didn't stop running until his legs burned and his lungs begged for air. He ducked into an old maintenance shaft under the museum where no cameras could see him. Pipes hissed above. The lights were flickering, and the air smelled like metal and dust. He gently set the alien woman down on the floor. She was no longer made of stone. Her skin was soft, glowing faintly like moonlight. Her silver eyes stayed half open, watching him. She looked weak, like someone waking up from a long nightmare. Callan sat back, heart pounding. "Okay, what just happened?" She didn't answer. "Who are you?" He asked again. "And why did you say I was bound to you?" Slowly, she turned her head toward him. "Because I've seen you before," he blinked. "What?" "In dreams," she whispered. "In the dark I remembered a face. A kind one, yours." "That's not possible," Callan said. "We've never met." Her gaze didn't change. "No, not you exactly. But your blood, your line. It carries him. The one who saved me." Callan swallowed hard. "You're saying one of my ancestors?" She nodded. "He was the last to stand with me." When the others turned, Callan tried to keep his breathing steady. Okay. Maybe you're just confused. You've been in that statue for, what, thousands of years?" She closed her eyes. 10,000 solar turns. I counted each one. Suddenly, her hands gripped her head as if something stabbed through her mind. "Too loud," she whispered. "They're close." Callan leaned forward. "Who's close? The guards?" She shook her head. "No, worse. The Watchers. They cursed me. They put me in that stone and erased my name. Why?" Callan asked. "I held power they feared," she said. "I was loyal to the last queen. I refused to kneel when the Watchers took the throne. And so they turned you into art?" She opened her eyes again, and this time, Callan saw fire in them. "No, they turned me into a warning. A prisoner with no name, frozen in beauty, for all to look at, but none to know." Callan stood up, pacing. "Okay, that's horrible. But why did my touch wake you?" She pointed to his palm. The glowing mark was still there, now burning faintly. "You carry the seal of the twin flame," she said. "It only responds to someone with heart and blood connected to mine." Callan raised his eyebrows. "Sorry, I don't exactly feel like royalty." "You are not," she said softly. "But you are chosen. That matters more." Suddenly, a soft humming noise echoed from deeper in the tunnel. Callan pulled out a small flashlight. The beam caught something floating toward them, a small drone. Its eye blinked red. "Get down!" Callan yelled, tackling her as the drone fired a stun blast. Sparks flew. They rolled into the shadows, hearts racing. The drone scanned the area again, then flew past, unable to detect them. For a long moment, neither spoke. Then the alien woman sat up, touching the side of her head. "I must regain my strength." "How?" Callan asked. "I need memory," she whispered. "Yours may help." He frowned. "What do you mean?" Before he could finish, she reached out and touched his forehead gently. Images flooded his mind fast, flashing like lightning. He saw an alien battlefield, glowing blades, a burning throne. A woman standing tall, surrounded by fire, refusing to kneel. Then he saw a man, human, in ancient armor. He looked like Callan, but older, wiser. He took her hand before everything turned to light. Callan gasped and pulled away. What was that?" She looked at him sadly. "A gift and a curse. Now you remember too." His head was spinning. "Are you saying I'm supposed to help? You fight some ancient war?" "No," she said quietly. That war already ended. We lost. And what's left? Callan asked. She looked deep into his eyes. Hope. Suddenly, alarms echoed again. This time from above. Seal breach. Detected. Energy surge. Life form signature active. The station AI had noticed her awakening, thought they would come. Come on, Callan said. He helped her to her feet. I know a hidden lab 2 levels down. We can hide there. As they moved through the dark tunnels, the station shifted around them. Quiet. Systems waking up after centuries. Pipes glowed softly. Machines hummed as they passed. She stopped suddenly and touched the wall. The metal responded, part of it sliding open. Behind it, a hidden path lit with alien script. Callan stared. What is that? She looked back at him. Memory. My people built more than statues. Suspense ending. As they stepped into the glowing path, far behind them, a tall figure stepped into the museum chamber. Its face was hidden behind silver armor, its voice cold. She's awake. And she's not alone. The glowing tunnel was not made by humans. As Callan followed Aurenya deeper into the hidden path, the walls shimmered with ancient light blue veins that pulsed gently, as if the corridor itself was breathing. Strange symbols floated along the walls like holograms, rearranging with each step they took. Callan had worked on Orion Station for 3 years. He thought he knew every shaft, every duct, every bolt in this place. But this was something else. These weren't on any blueprints, he whispered. Aurenya's fingers glided over the wall. Because they were never meant for human eyes. What is this place? Old memory, she replied. Buried beneath your station, long before you came. My people called it a soul chamber. The tunnel opened into a circular room. In the center was a glass pillar filled with liquid light. Aurenya reached out and placed her hand on it. Symbols flared across her skin. The pillar responded. The entire room shifted, walls turning. Metal sliding into new shapes. It's waking up, Callan muttered. No, she corrected. It remembers. From the walls, projections appeared, floating. Fragments of a lost empire. Cities built on floating platforms. Starships shaped like birds. A young Aurenya standing proud in golden armor. Behind her, a tall human man with a kind face stood guard. Callan's heart skipped. That's him, the one I saw in the vision. My protector, she said. He defied the Watchers and died for it. But before he fell, he left behind a promise that one day his blood would return. And now it's me, Callan said, almost laughing. An engineer with a bad haircut. Aurenya looked at him, serious. It is not the title that makes the guardian, it is the heart. Suddenly, the floor vibrate. A low growl echoed from the corridor behind them. They found us, Callan said. No, Aurenya whispered, eyes narrowing. They sent a hunter. A shrill mechanical screech followed, and a metallic creature slithered into view. It was long, spider-like, and covered in razor edges. Its eyes were a dozen red dots, blinking in patterns. Guardian-class drone. Aurenya said, they used these to execute royal prisoners. Perfect, Callan muttered. How do we kill it? You don't, she said, stepping forward. You distract it. I'll do the rest. Callan gulped, then picked up a broken pipe from the floor. Hey, over here, ugly. He yelled, and threw the pipe at its head. The creature turned fast, screeching. A red laser aimed at Callen. He dove behind a pillar as the beam scorched the wall. Aurenya closed her eyes and placed her palms flat on the floor. Light surged from her body, her markings glowing bright gold. The drone froze. Then, with a loud crack, its metal limbs bent backward and twisted until the creature collapsed, sparking. Callan peeked out. You did that? I told you, she sighed, breathing hard. This place remembers me. But she was shaking now. Using her powers took energy she didn't fully have yet. Callan ran to her side. You need rest. There's no time. They'll send more. Then we keep moving, he said. She nodded slowly. There is a forgotten exit through the lower hydro lines. Perfect. No one goes there anymore. As they entered the next corridor, Callan noticed how the alien tech began reacting more and more to her presence. Lights turned on as she walked. Walls moved for her. Symbols even appeared under her feet. She's not just part of this, Callan realized. She's the key, he whispered. Why would they lock her away? The answer came when they passed a massive sealed door rusted with age. Aurania stopped, staring at it. Behind the door was a chamber pulsing with energy. This, she whispered, was my final command center. Callan leaned closer to the door. What's inside? She looked at him with ancient pain. The ship, he blinked. Wait, what ship? The one we built to escape the fall, she said. But they sealed me before I could reach it. So, you were never supposed to be a statue in a museum. She looked away. No, I was supposed to be the last flame of hope. The moment stretched long, then a crash behind them. The silver-armored figure had arrived. Its voice echoed, Aurania of the Star Flame, surrender. The galaxy has forgotten you. Aurania's eyes blazed. But I have not forgotten them, suspense ending. The figure raised its weapon. Callan pushed Aurania through the hydro door. Turned to fight, but the wall exploded behind him, and the buried starship began to stir. Asterisk, the explosion threw Callan across the tunnel. Dust filled the air. Alarms wailed in the distance. He coughed, eyes stinging, and looked up. Through the broken wall behind him, something massive moved in the shadows, a shape bigger than any ship he had ever seen. Aurania stood still, her eyes wide, staring into the dark. It's waking up, she whispered. What is it? Callan asked, pulling himself to his feet. The Starflame. My flagship. They buried it here, beneath the station. The hidden room behind the wall wasn't just a hangar. It was a tomb, holding a vessel so ancient and powerful that even time seemed afraid of it. Smooth metal gleamed beneath layers of stone. Its design was unlike anything in modern fleet scurved, glowing with blue light and alive, and it was responding to her. Callan turned toward her. How is this possible? Nobody knew this ship existed. They erased me, Aurania sighed, voice trembling. But they couldn't erase everything. The silver-armored enemy stepped through the smoke, its cloak swaying behind it. The face was hidden, but the voice was full of poison. You weren't supposed to rise again, it growled. Aurania turned to face it. And yet here I stand. Figure raised its weapon, a sleek staff pulsing with dark energy. You defy the Watchers again? No, she said calmly. This time, I don't stand alone. Suddenly, a beam of light swept across the chamber from the ceiling, scanning both her and Callan. Then, the starship spoke. Its voice echoed like wind through hollow mountains, ancient and deep. Commander recognized. Royal line detected. Second. Soul confirmed. The silver-armored enemy took a step back. No. That's not possible. Callan blinked. Wait. Did it just say me? Aurania smiled weakly. The ship's AI is older than most stars. It remembers everything. Even your blood. The ship's front opened with a slow groan, like a creature yawning after a long sleep. Inside, a warm blue glow pulsed. Aurania stepped toward it. We must go inside. Now, with that thing right behind us? Callan said, pointing at the enemy, but she didn't stop walking. The enemy lunged forward, but before it could strike, the ship fired a pulse of energy, knocking it across the chamber. Callan didn't wait. He ran after Aurania into the ship. The doors sealed behind them. Inside, the halls were glowing with soft blue lights. Symbols floated gently above their heads. The ship felt warm, like it had missed her. They reached the control room. Callan's jaw dropped. It looked like a star had been caged inside a glass sphere. The center console pulsed like a heart. Aurania stepped forward, placing her hand over the core. "I've come home," she whispered. The core flared, recognizing her touch. Then another light appeared beside hers. It came from Callan's palm. The mark on his hand pulsed and connected to the ship's systems. "Why is it reacting to me?" he asked. "Because it knows you," she said, "just as I did." Suddenly, the screen ahead of them changed, showing dozens of files, ancient and hidden. Among them, one opened automatically. It showed a young Aurania and a human warrior beside her, but he didn't look like Calen. He was Calen. Same eyes, same face, just older, stronger, and dressed in royal armor. "That's not my ancestor," Callan whispered. "That's me," Aurania nodded. "The soul. Flame remembers. It pulls the same spirit across time." "You're saying I've lived before?" "Yes, you stood with me once. You've returned. Not as a soldier this time, as the spark." Callan sat down slowly. "This is too much." Aurania knelt beside him. "I know, but you must understand this is no accident. You're part of a bond older than stars." Suddenly, alarms lit up the screen. Enemy ships were entering orbit. "The Watchers," Aurania said. "They've sent a fleet." "We can't fight a fleet," Callan said. She stood. "With this ship we can." He hesitated. "I'm not ready for this." "You were ready before," she said gently. "And you are ready again." The ship's voice echoed once more. Pilot linked. Weapons unlocked. Suspense ending. Outside, the enemy's fleet began to charge their weapons. Inside the ship, Callan placed his hand on the control, and the Starflame opened its wings. The ship's Starflame breathed. Its curved hull shimmered with awakening light, and from its hidden core, massive wings unfolded like ancient sails. They weren't mechanical wings. They were alive, woven with glowing veins and star steel. The ship pulsed like a heart with every motion. Callan stood at the main console, unsure if he was flying it or if it was flying him. Aurania stood beside him, her hand gently resting over a smooth panel that responded to her emotions. With every pulse of her breath, the ship hummed louder, rising from its long sleep. "This doesn't feel like a machine," Callan said. "It feels like it's dreaming." Aurania smiled softly. "It is. It remembers war. It remembers love. And now it remembers us." Outside, space twisted. 3 massive Watcher ships dropped out of F-Lark cruisers shaped like blades, aiming toward Orion Station. The station's defense grid flickered but didn't fire. Someone on the inside had turned it off. "They've already taken control," Callan said. "They want me erased again," Aurania whispered. "But this time, I fight." Starflame surged upward through the broken ceiling of the underground hangar. Walls bent out of the way, responding to ancient commands. Within seconds, the alien warship had risen above the station's outer dome, into the black ocean of space. "Brace yourself," Aurania said. "The moment they see me, they will strike." A warning tone rang across the ship's bridge. "Target. Lock. Incoming fire." One of the enemy cruisers fired a plasma lance. Callan flinched, expecting death, but Starflame moved before he could. It bent around the shot, literally twisted its body in space like a living creature. The energy blast missed by meters. "What was that?" Callan gasped. "She dances," Aurania said, her eyes glowing. "Let her show you how." Callan placed both hands on the console. Symbols floated up around him, scanning his thoughts, reading his mind. The controls weren't buttons. They were alive. He thought of evasion, and the ship turned. He imagined a counterattack, and the ship fired. Bright blue beams burst from its wings, cutting through one of the cruisers and slicing its side open. No warning. No charge time. Just pure power. Aurania stepped forward. "Now they remember me." Another Watcher ship released a swarm of needle fighters, dozens of them. "They're fast," Callan muttered. "We can't outgun all of them." "No," Aurenya said. But we don't have to. She raised her hand and the ship responded. The glow from her skin spread through the floor, into the core, and out the wings. Within seconds, the ship split itself into dozens of illusions, ghost images scattered across space. The Needle Fighters attacked the wrong targets, crashing into fake copies. That's cheating, Callan said, grinning. That's survival, Aurenya replied. Suddenly the third cruiser spoke. Its captain, an armored watcher, face hidden, voice deep and metallic, appeared. On their view screen, you are a relic, Aurenya. Your time is dust. Return to stone and the boy will be spared. Callan frowned. Wow, very generous. Aurenya stepped forward, calm. You fear what we remember. That is why you sealed me. That is why you lie. The watcher leaned closer on the screen. We burned your kind. We erased your bloodlines. That human beside you, he's nothing. Callan glanced at Aurenya. You sure they're not scared? Then, before she could answer, the watcher snarled. He's not even the real one. Everything went silent. Callan stared at the screen. What does that mean? The watcher continued. You think you're bonded? That he is your second soul? You chose wrong. Then, the enemy cruiser fired a new weapon, not at the ship, but at the planet below. Ian gasped. They're targeting civilians. Because they know I'll follow, Aurenya whispered. She closed her eyes. Her voice broke slightly. They're right. Callan grabbed her arm. No, this isn't your fault. We stopped them now. Aurenya looked at him, pain in her eyes. Then, let us fly as one. They placed their hands together on the core. Their markings glowed, pulsed, merged. Starflame screamed, not with sound, but with light. The wings extended to full span. A second pair unfolded beneath, forming a radiant X of energy. The ship launched forward, breaking through the fighter cloud in seconds. Lasers curved. Missiles bent away. The ship defied every law of physics. And then it vanished. In the blink of an eye, it reappeared inside the third cruiser's shields. Suspense ending. The enemy captain turned too late. Callan's voice echoed over comms. You should have remembered who we are. And Starflame fired right into the heart of their ship. Asterisk. The blast lit up the sky like a new star. Watcher Cruiser 3 tore apart in slow motion, its metal spine cracking, energy core bursting, fragments spinning like dead leaves in orbit. A silent firestorm bloomed across space. The Watcher captain never had time to scream. Inside Starflame, the light faded. Callan lowered his hands from the glowing console, his arms trembling. Aurenya looked at him in silence. Her silver eyes shimmered, not from power, but something else. You've done this before, she whispered. I felt it. I don't remember any past life, Callan said, his voice hoarse. But I knew what to do, like the ship helped me. Aurenya nodded. The bond is real. The ship listens to your will. He looked at her. So does that mean I'm chosen? You always were? But there was no time to speak more. Last two Watcher ships, angrier than ever, regrouped and fired everything they had. Plasma spears, guided missiles, star torpedoes. They didn't care who else was in the way now. Orion Station trembled as energy pulses hit its outer shields. Civilians screamed in the lower districts. They're going to kill everyone just to destroy you, Callan said. Aurenya stepped forward, calm in the chaos. Then we must end them before they end others. Callan looked at the readout. The station's defenses were still offline. Its fleet was still docked. Nobody was helping. Everyone was watching. That's when Callan understood. This wasn't just about her past anymore. Now the whole galaxy was watching what one human and one forgotten alien could do. Let's go, he said, his voice steady. Let's finish this. Aurenya nodded. Brace yourself. Starflame folded its wings inward and dove. Not away toward the enemy. It flipped between the two cruisers, flying closer than any sane pilot would dare. Enemy cannons roared. The ship twisted like liquid, dodging every beam. Callan didn't press buttons. He imagined movement, and the ship responded. He thought in shapes, pressure, motion, and it flew better than any machine ever built. The Watcher ships tried to adjust, but they were old, rigid. Afraid. Starflame was alive, and it was angry. "Give me targeting control," Callan said. Aurenya raised her hand. "Granted." New controls appeared before him, floating rings and pulsing nodes. His fingers passed through the light. The wings charged up, glowing white. Then he whispered, "For everyone you hurt." He fired. Not just weapons, memories. Light twisted into shapes, ancient symbols that tore through the enemy shields like blades. One cruiser began to break apart, its hull collapsing from the inside. Aurenya's voice filled the ship. "They thought they erased us." The final Watcher ship tried to escape. It turned away from the fight, jumping toward deep space. "No," Callan said. "They don't get to run." He focused. Starflame bent around space, faster than light, and appeared right above the fleeing ship. "Deliver judgment," Aurenya whispered. Callan nodded. A final beam surged from the ship's heart, a quiet, narrow line of blue that cut through the fleeing enemy like it was made of paper. Silence followed. 3 Watcher cruisers gone. Orion station floated in shock. Messages flooded the channel, questions, praise, fear, but Callan turned off the comms. He stood there, quiet, until Aurenya walked to him and said, "It's over." "No," he said softly. "It's just begun." She tilted her head. "What do you mean?" "They saw what we did, the people on the station. The ones out there in the stars. Everyone who's been living in fear. They'll ask questions now. They'll dig up history. You're not forgotten anymore." Aurenya placed her hand over his. "I remembered because of you." Then the ship spoke again, its voice gentle. New connection detected. Core awakening. Memory vault now accessible. The bridge shifted. A wall melted into a doorway. A chamber revealed itself, filled with floating crystals and old holograms. Inside were memories sealed by Aurenya's people before the betrayal. Knowledge, secrets, proof. Callan stepped inside slowly. One of the crystals lit up and played a projection. It showed a younger version of Aurenya and a child, human, laughing. Running between the two, Callan stared. "That's my child," Aurenya said, her voice distant. "His father was your ancestor." Callan turned, stunned. "Then that means you're not just bound to me by fate," she said. "You're family." His voice shook. "What do we do with this?" Aurenya smiled, sad and strong. "We tell the truth. And we rebuild the fire they tried to bury." Suspense. Ending. Back on the station, a Watcher drone, small, unseen, sent one last signal to a dark part of the galaxy. Target awakened. Human bonded. Queen reborn. And far, far away, something bigger than any ship opened its eyes. The stars were quiet now. Watcher cruisers lay in ruins, their fires drifting across the void like distant lanterns. Starflame hovered above Orion station, wings folded inward like a resting guardian. Inside, Callan stood at the edge of the memory vault, watching fragments of a forgotten past swirl around him. Aurenya joined him in silence. Together, they watched as the ancient holograms replayed moments that had been buried for 10,000 years. Human hands holding alien ones, shared battles, shared laughter, shared bloodlines. The galaxy had always been connected, only the truth had been hidden. "They said we were nothing," Aurenya whispered. "That your kind were primitive, fragile, replaceable." Callan looked at her. "Guess we proved them wrong." She turned to him with soft eyes. "You didn't just wake me. You reminded me why I fought." He held her gaze. "You reminded me why it's worth fighting." Suddenly, the ship's voice broke the quiet. "Incoming signal. Wide broadcast. Playing now." The bridge lit up with a hologram. It was the station's director, a pale-faced alien with wide eyes and a shaking voice. To the one aboard the unidentified warship. We don't know who you are or what just happened. But if you are the ones who saved us, thank you. Please respond. People are scared, Callan sighed. They deserve to know the truth. Aurania nodded. Then let them see it. She reached toward the console. The ship responded. The broadcast began live across every screen, every comm station, every colony within range, and the galaxy watched. The people saw a ship they thought was legend. They saw a woman with glowing silver eyes, standing tall not as a weapon, but as a survivor. And beside her, a human, young, untrained, no armor, no title, just heart. I'm Callan, he said to the galaxy. I'm nobody important. I work on engines. I fix broken wires. I get told to shut up in meetings. And yesterday, I poked a statue. A few chuckles from the crowd gathered across Orion's upper decks. He continued, but that statue turned out to be a person, Aurania, a queen, a protector. They tried to erase her. And they almost erased us too. He looked directly at the camera. But humans don't vanish. We don't forget. And we don't stop just because someone says we can't do something. The silence across. The stars deepened. Then Aurania spoke. I was locked in stone for 10,000 cycles. My name was forbidden. My people erased. But this human saw me, not as a statue, not as a relic, but as a life worth saving. She turned toward Callan. He reminded me that courage isn't born. It is chosen. Callan smiled, then added, so if you've ever been told you're too small to make a difference, too weak to stand up, too human to matter, just remember this. I was just an engineer. Now I'm flying a starship built before your histories began. He paused. And I'm not giving it back. Cheers erupted across stations. On ships, on mining colonies, on moons and planets. But somewhere far away, the final Watcher stronghold received the broadcast. A massive figure stood in shadow, its form hidden beneath layers of armor, its eyes glowing crimson. It didn't speak. It simply turned away, activating. Hundreds of dormant ships across the galaxy. Ancient codes began to unlock. The real war hadn't ended. It had just been sleeping. On Starflame, Callan sat quietly beside Aurania. She looked at the stars. They're going to come, I know. They'll want me dead. They'll have to go through me. She smiled. You sound like him. The one before? She nodded. He died protecting me. Callan looked into her eyes. Then I'll live protecting you. She leaned against him gently. Maybe. This time we both survive. Suddenly, the ship shifted. A new corridor opened, one they hadn't seen before. The ship had more to show them. At the end of that corridor, a light pulsed like a heartbeat. What is it? Callan asked. The throne room, Aurania said quietly. Where the real command lies. Then what are we waiting for? They stood together, hands still linked. And for the first time, they walked not as prisoner and rescuer, not as queen and guardian, but as equals. As bondmates. As the two stepped into the glowing chamber, Starflame sent a silent signal through the stars, searching for all eyes, for survivors of Aurania's people, for those who remembered what was lost. Callan whispered, let them come. And behind them, the warship's wings unfolded again, burning brighter than ever. The galaxy would never forget. This time, because a human had touched the past. And changed the future forever.